All right. Number 5. Find the derivative of the following functions. A says f of x equals to the natural log of secant of x. I'm going to rewrite this with different colors because I see that I have a secant of x inside of my natural log function. So f of x is going to equal to the natural log of secant of x. Close that up. I have to use the chain rule in this case. The derivative of the outer times the derivative of the inner. Now I'm going to write over here. Remember, the derivative of the natural log of x is going to be 1 over x. And the derivative of secant of x is equal to secant of x times tangent of x. So when I take the derivative of the outer function, that is the natural log, I'm going to label this as the outer function. And the inner function is the secant of x. Remember, when it comes to taking the derivative of a composite function, it is equal to the derivative of the outer function, keeping the inside the same. Then you're multiplying that by the derivative of the inner function. So let's go ahead and find our derivative by following the same. F prime of x is equal to the derivative of the natural log function. It's 1 over x. But because I have a secant of x inside, that's going to be 1 over secant of x. Keep the inside function the same. Then times the derivative of the inner function. The derivative of secant of x is going to be secant of x times tangent of x. And we have to simplify that, clean that up just a little bit. If you look here, the secant of x up here will simplify with the secant of x down there. 1 times tangent is just tangent of x. And that is your answer. All right. Letter B. G of x equals to the square root of 34 minus x squared. I'm going to once again rewrite this. The outer function is the square root. The inner function is the 34 minus x squared. Remember, the derivative of the square root of x is 1 over 2 square root of x. But because we have a function that is inside of the square root of x, we must follow the chain rule. The outer function is the square root. The inner function is the 34 minus x squared. So to find the derivative of g, the derivative of the outer, the derivative of the square root is 1 over 2 square root, but instead of putting x, we're going to put 34 minus x. 34 minus x squared, excuse me. Then we're going to multiply that with the derivative of the inner function. The derivative of 34 is 0 because that's a constant. Minus the derivative of x squared is 2x. Let's simplify that just a little bit. So on top, I have my 2x. On the bottom, I have the square, I have 2 times the square root of 34 minus x squared. And just like what I did, do not forget about the negative sign because this is negative 2x. And as you can see here, My 2's can simplify. So we're left with negative x on top over the square root of 34 minus x squared. Let's do the next one. And I think that's the last one. Y equals to sine squared of cosine of tangent of x. I'm going to rewrite this first as y is equal to, in huge parentheses, and I'm going to put my square on the outside. And that's going to be sine in the inside of cosine of tangent of x. No derivative. I just rewritten it. And now because I see I have one function inside of another, inside of another, inside of another, I'm going to color code that. Y is going to equal to, on the outside, we're going to put red. And all that is being squared because that is the outer function. The first inner function is going to be the sine function. Sine of. The next inner function is going to be the cosine function. Cosine of. And the third inner function is going to be the tangent function. Tangent of x. Let's zoom that in. Let's close all of those up. All right. So let's label them. This right here is inner function 1. Our cosine is inner function 2. And our tangent is inner function 3. I gotta put my 2 over here. And now let's take our derivative. Y prime is equal to, take the derivative of the outer function first. We have everything to the power of 2. Because this is a power function, you're going to bring your 2 down in front as multiplication, subtract 1 from your exponent. So that's going to be 2 times. Keep the inside of the parentheses the same. And 2 minus 1 is 1. I'm just going to put the 1 there for reference. And the inside is sine of cosine of tangent of x. Then multiply that with the derivative of the first inner function. The derivative of sine is cosine. So that's going to be cosine. Keep the inside the same. And that's going to be cosine of tangent of x. Do not multiply the cosine and the cosine. It doesn't work like that. That is cosine within cosine. That's going to be multiplied with the derivative of the second inner function. The derivative of cosine of x is negative sine of x. So that's going to be negative sine of tangent of x. But let's keep the tangent in black. Close that up. And then that's going to be multiplied with the derivative of the third inner function. And the derivative of tangent is secant squared of x. So when I clean up all of this to make it look really nice, y prime is going to equal to negative 2, because 2 times the negative makes it negative 2, of sine of cosine of tangent of x, close that up. Because it's to the first power, I can just leave it the way it is. Or I can write the 1 over here if I want to, but I'm not going to do that. Times cosine of tangent of x times sine of tangent of x times secant squared of x. And that is it, guys, to the chain rule. Hope you enjoyed the video, understood the parts, and I'll catch you in the next one.